It's Wednesday, you know what that means. It is time for this week's live weekly event from Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. This week we do have the Audi TT RS Coupe birthday, celebrating 27 years of the Audi TT RS, probably one of the most broken cars in Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, especially down in the D class category, all for that reward of the Audi t-shirt. Interesting. Let's take a look at what we have in store. The Tempest, a 4.6 mile sprint, 100% asphalt. That one there looks like it's going to be a wet race with a max RP of 550, but interestingly it's Audi TT RS, a D class car, up against that BMW i8 Roadster, so they can already see just how competitive the Audi TT is. Moving over to the second race for today, the Dragon Awakes, a 2 mile sprint, and that one's an off-road race. Fantastic. In the TT with no max RP, we can explore what this car has. I believe this to be a fantastic off-roader. Delighted to see that one added to this week. And to round us out, we will have the Green Ring, 5.4 mile 3-lap circuit race. That one's going to be dry, 100% asphalt in the TTRS with a max RP of 550. Again, I would like to have seen this one opened up. We know how broken this car is. We know how ridiculous this can be in game. I would have liked to have seen that RP a lot higher. But we're here, we're in the TT, we're in that new livery I dropped down in the TDU Discord at the weekend there. I had no clue that we were coming into a TT event. It's nice to see that one kind of play out. But we know already just how broken the TT is in game, and it was inevitable we were going to get a live weekly event all around this very specific car. I, for one, am delighted for it. First of all, we will jump over to that Tempest race. It looks like it's going to be a wet one in the TT up against the BMW i8 with a max RP of 550. Interesting, the dynamic of this one. It's a TT, which is a D-class car, up against the BMW i8, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is in the supercar category. It might be in the Grand Tour, but I believe it's in the supercar category. Do correct me in the comments section, so the game itself, the devs know just how broken this TT RS truly is. Coming into the race here, we can see it is indeed a very wet race, so it's going to be standard road tyres. The tune I've kind of put together for this is a grip tune. Probably not the best one for this race. It looks like we're going to be wanting as much power as we possibly can. So building the car, it's all towards engine power, taking everything off. All focus is towards engine power to try and climb us up these hills. It's a big hill climb to start us off with here. We can see just how much we're struggling essentially to get up towards some good speeds here, losing a lot of speed through the corners. And again, I think that's down to the grip tune build I have attached to this one. I'm probably going to spend some time over the weekend getting a full power tune build for the TTRS to get up this hill a lot quicker than I have managed to do so. Coming into these corners, they're very quick corners. We kind of want to have minimal steering input there. Less resistance, more speed is going to be key on this very specific race. Up into our first braking zone. As we can see, guys, it's very wet, it's very slippy. We don't want to be locking up coming up into that one. We're going to miss the corner overall. Looks like we managed to get around it largely unscathed, but it just feels like this thing is holding back. It doesn't feel like we've got the right power delivery. Yes, it's a max RP of 550. Yes, it is a daily driver, but it feels like we're holding back just a little bit here. It feels like I need to improve the tune or have a specific tune for this very weekend. Coming down into the snaking sections, this is where the grip tune is going to hold its own. However, we can see that it is very well balanced coming into the left hand, right hand hairpins that we've got here. This is where this tune I have got, that I have shared, is going to be crucial for this race specifically. But the time we make up in this snaking section, is that going to be greater than the time we make up under acceleration? I don't think it's going to be. I think this one here is going to have its own specific tune built, which I'm going to do over the weekend. I'll share that if I can improve times. But I believe that this week we're going to see the game in a state of break. What I mean by that one, we already know that this car is broken. We already know that there's some sensational times across many leaderboards in the TTRS, and I think this week is going to be hyper competitive. We already know that these weekly events are the most competitive events, races, points of the game, and I don't think that's going to change as I make a big mess of that corner there, sliding under the rain and taking the TTRS into the rock face there. But like I was kind of talking about there, I think this is going to be one of the most hyper competitive weeks that we have in TDU. Everybody seems to love the TTRS. We all know it's broken. There's some sensational tunes out there, and there's some very, very, very fast lap times, and I don't expect that to change this week, guys. If you want to get to the top of that leaderboard, you're probably going to have to get in early like I am right now. For full clarity, we are playing the game 20 minutes after the live event went live, so I am very early in the leaderboard. I like to come in early, have a look where other people are putting times down, then jump back in later part of the week. And yeah, get some competitive times on that board as we make a mess of the last turn there, understeering, dipping off road. As I mentioned, very early onto the leaderboard, a 3 minute 16 flat, Austin 316. That's a reference if you know that one. 3 minute 16 flats. I think there's quite a few seconds we can take off that lap time, guys. I don't think that one is a fast lap time at all. But like I mentioned, this is a very early leaderboard. In the first hour of the event going live, expect to see an improved time on the first race in the TTRS, that Tempest race that we did just finish. Moving on though, very happy to what's about to happen here. We're going to move over to the second race, a quick transition into the off-road build with the all-road tyres, all-road suspension in the TTRS. I am delighted that they have included an off-road race for the TT. You guys know from the time over in Ibiza, a few of the races here, the TTRS absolutely dominated, and this thing, it very much is a capable off-road car, coming back to its roots with the Quattro build from the Audi Quattro. This thing, in my opinion, is capable of some very fast off-road times. We already know that. We've already set those times. The fact that we've now got that in this weekly live event, I am absolutely delighted for, and I hope you guys are too. Take advantage of using these cars in different scenarios. What type of different scenario could you get other than taking a TTRS off-road? So that's the next race that we're going to line up with here, the Dragon Awakes, a 2 mile sprint, like we mentioned, off-road in the TTRS with no max RP. This thing is opened up. I've got this thing tuned and built to 679 RP, and that's to our detriment. We're going to start at the back of the field here, and I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest hindrances for this race. Starting at the back of the grid on any race is bad, but especially in an off-road race on a single car category is going to cause us some trouble as we get up on that hillside. It's actually worked to our benefit. We can see that the AI all came together there coming into that first turn. It's maybe worked to our benefit there, but it feels like we've probably compromised ourselves starting at the back of the grid, probably lost a few seconds there. Going to have to look at that build, maybe going to have to get a bit of a higher RP so we're not starting at the back of the grid, but we do push forward as always. Tricky little turn there, guys, don't want to overcommit to that one. You will miss your turn, or you will hit that rock that's sitting right on the apex of the corner. But we'll push forward. Like I mentioned, I think this car is fantastically capable for the off-road races that we do have here, and it's pretty much, presented in front of you. This thing will slide in and out of any corner, it will power over, you will get the power down, you will get the traction, you will be able to work through the gearbox and use this gearbox to your advantage. Short shifting using the torque of the TTRS, I kind of spoke about this quite a lot of times when focusing in on the off-road races. Use the gearbox to your advantage, switch up the gears, use the torque to pull you out of these corners. The TTRS here, absolutely no difference. The gearbox is the focal point, in my opinion, of this car. Coming in and out of these fast lefts, fast rights, we can see just how agile this one is with an off-road build. That gearbox obviously accompanying it. And as we come towards the finish line here, well, we do make a mistake, but that mistake actually benefits us here. We do cut across the track, and I think a lot of people are going to be doing that to cut a few seconds off of the lap time there. Again, I feel that there's a lot of time left on the table there. We can actually see there's over 5 seconds left on the table there. Altair up in top spot on the grid, on the leaderboard there, 698 RP, and that's probably going to be a focal point. We want to get that RP higher to start on that starting grid a lot higher. I feel like that 679 build starting at the back of the grid has really compromised the race and the overall lap time. I think there's more than 5 seconds left on the table with that one, guys. I think there's going to be a lot of improvement there, and I do think that one once again is going to be a very competitive leaderboard as the times start to roll on over the next week. You guys already know I love the off-road racing in game. The fact that we've now got it added to this weekly event, the fact that we're off-road racing in the TTRS, I applaud. I think it's fantastic. It's what I want to see, these different dynamics to races that we've got in game. This is what we This is what we have every live weekly event, whether it's jumping into cars we don't normally race or using cars we normally race in different situations. I applaud it, I'm all for it, and I hope you guys are enjoying the presentation that we've got this week with the TTRS. For me, I think it's fantastic. The heart and soul of the game. I've said it many times before, and I'll likely say it many times again. The weekly events are the heart and soul of Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Moving on to the last race for today in the Audi TT. We already know what we're going over to, guys. We are heading over to the Green Ring. 3-mile circuit race, clear, dawn, 100% asphalt. It's a dry race on a road circuit. 550 RP, and it's a single car category here. It is in the Audi TT-RS. With the build we've got here, similar to the build we had in race number 1, in the TT we do start off in second place, so at the head of the grid is exactly where we want to be, not getting stuck behind any AI. Likelihood is we're going to launch off the line better than the rest of the pack. We do indeed manage to do so. For this time with the grip tune, I did lift the aero. I believe the aero's up to about 0.5 and 0.8 positive. If you guys have been using my build, lifting the aero up there to try and get a bit more acceleration and speed, it's kind of what I was taking from the very first race. I feel like we were getting held back. Maybe that aero was what was holding us back here. We'll see what kind of time we get in the TT in the third race for today. Around the early parts though there, it looks like we're nice and clean, hugging into the apexes. Braking wasn't fantastic coming into that left-hander. That's one point we will need to improve, but there's shortcuts to be taken in this race. I did one round of this race, seen these shortcuts, had to come back, and once again we don't have to come down to that apex. We can cut that apex short to get the checkpoint. So yeah, like every race I've done today, I did the first outing, scoped out the map, the race that we had there, came back and set my time. Another shortcut here, we can straight line that corner there, guys. We don't have to hit the apexes, we can cut that corner. Said it many times before, I don't mind corner cutting in game, I detest wall riding, so corner cutting for me is a-okay. Push up here across the over the crest of that hill, total stammer there to cross the finish line. Rounding out lap number 1, we've got a good lead on the rest of the pack. Can we be a bit cleaner in the second lap here? Around there, the back end just stepped out. Unfortunately there, I feel like we lost momentum with the back end stepping out around the right hander, but we'll push forward, guys, hugging the left hand apex, hugging the right hand apex that we've got coming up here. Trying to keep it nice and clean coming round, but we want to open that steering up as quickly as we can so we can get the TT accelerating once again, and we've managed to do so. Are we cleaner this time into the left-hander? Slightly cleaner, but I feel like we have scrub time off coming into that one. Once again, we're going to cut that apex short here, the hairpin short rather. Not the best effort. That has got a lot of room for improvement, but we can see we can probably save ourselves a little bit of time by not heading down to the apex of the hairpin, cut that one short to grab our checkpoint. Once again, we will push forward, climb up the hill, we will cut the track once again here. Are we clean here? We take that lamppost, we take 2 lampposts, statutory lampposts for my videos. Maybe lost a little bit of momentum, but overall we've got a relatively clean race. It looks like we're going to set a relatively quick enough time here for the very early leaderboards, but there is a lot of improvement that can be done in all 3 races, and this one is one of those ones. I feel there's a lot of time left on the board. Most importantly, coming into these early long hairpins that we've kind of got here, I do feel like there is time left on the board, and I do feel like it is down to that grip tune. Having focus on grip for me is key for a lot of races, but these kind of races, these are ones I probably want to focus more on a power build, maybe even an acceleration build. Single car categories, it's all about the tune. We obviously seen that last week with the Mercedes 300 SL. I jumped back in, tried to catch up the likes of GR Picuvius and Asa Yunon. Managed to get some competitive times on that board, but as we can see, single car categories are all about how the car is tuned. I'm going to spend some time over the weekend tuning this TTRS specifically for those 2 on-road dry and wet races there. Let's finish off though, guys. Cut across that corner once again. We'll push uphill for one last time in the TTRS. What kind of time can we get on the leaderboard? We're almost 15 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack in a single car category, guys. That does look pretty good so far. Push up the hill as we said one last time, round the right hander, cross the start finish line. What kind of time have we got on the board? Where are we positioned on that early leaderboard? Well, we did, in fact, manage to complete the live weekly event with just 70 points required, so just 7 race wins, guys, for the completion of the TTRS birthday, where, of course, we did get that live exclusive, which is the Blue Navy Audi t-shirt. Wear that if you like. I'm not a fanboy to that level. But we did manage to set 3 minutes 48.5, 7 seconds ahead of second place. So on an early leaderboard, it's a decent enough time. But like I said, I feel like there's quite a lot of time left on the board there. Maybe even a 3 minute 40 is an achievable time. Let me know what kind of time you guys have set across the board in all 3 races in the comments section down below. I would really appreciate you guys commenting. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and push these videos out just a little bit further. Yeah, for me, it was inevitable. We were going to get a TTRS week at some point. It is here. It is upon us. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. I think this is going to be the most broken week in game. I think it's going to be the most competitive week in game. And I think we're going to see some tremendously fast times on that leaderboard. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.